Right. I love when I see that red box and I look inside that red box, the word live is in there as I consult my host manual. That, in fact, means, ladies and gentlemen, we are, of course, live. Really looking forward to this evening's guest. And I'm going to ask him to do a little bit of work right out of the gate. Joe, if you would, please introduce yourself as if you need one.
I was going to pretend that I had that like condition with you hear about recording artists when the red light goes on talk. So I was going to go quiet on you, but I won't do it. Yeah,
Uh,
my name is Joe Pernice, and I am a musician. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I married a Canadian, and I moved to Toronto in 2005. So I've lived in Canada now for over 20 years, and here I am via I don't know what it is. It's not satellite. It's packetized. I'm via
yes,
packetized
that's
data
right.
to you.
That's right. And I did agree not to bring up anything about tariffs. Although my apologies, I was not consulted. Moving right along, I want to say for the past, 30 years, our guest has crafted a remarkable catalog that boldly reinterprets and also recasts classic American pop. You know him from the alt country legends, of course, Scud Mountain Boys, and then with the killer indie pop mainstays, the Pernice Brothers. He's etched bittersweet stories out of some incredible songs that echo the vibe of such greats as Jimmy Webb, Burt Bacharach, and Paul Williams. And tonight, we're celebrating, and it's really hard to believe, his debut solo record. The man has delivered, and it's entitled Sonny, I Was Wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. Let's kick this show off. Brad, if you would, please roll the video.
Thank you, Steve. You made it very easy for me.
Oh man, I always get revved up whenever I see that video. I am Steve Harkins, your host for the Rock and Roll Channel on Talk Shop Live, and I just want to say, everyone, thanks so much for being here. And again, just want to say how much we appreciate tonight's guest. And with that, once again, please welcome the one, the only Joe Pernice. Joe, thank you again for being here. Really appreciate it.
No sweat, Steve. Thanks for having me. It took a lot of effort for me to go from the downstairs of my house to the upstairs of my house. So, you owe me a big one.
I do. There will be something extra in your Christmas stocking this year, Joe. No question about it, for sure. And yeah, yeah. Sorry. Typically, we don't. We don't put our guests through. Such an exercise. But I want to tell fans, if you'd like to ask Joe a question or you have a comment, use the chat function, and we will get to as many as possible. And Joe, I typically say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I know, your occupation, is associated with entertainment, which is appropriate, but it's even far more important than that, and especially in today's day and age, somewhat contentious times. What you do is really extraordinarily important, and you bring people together through your message, your music, and your art, whether it's performing or projects like this. It's the one common thread I think we have these days. So thank you so much for what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's true. I haven't thought, I didn't think of it that way because a lot of people who write songs, myself included, are really into what they do, and you stay in a bit of a bubble. But I know
Yeah.
as a listener of music that I feel really grateful to the artists who I like for what they do. So when someone turns that on me and throws that back at me, I have to say like, oh yeah, that is what I do. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's again, it's mutual for sure. And I got to ask you, just getting a little background, did you grow up, as a child in a musical environment? Was there a lot of music around you?
There was a lot of music being played on records in the radio. The radio in my house was always on, the actual radio.
Yeah.
Um, my one brother my brother and I, 2 out of 6 kids, were the only musicians. My 4 sisters, no one really played music, or they tried, but it didn't stick. Um, so as far as people playing music, my brother, who's 5 years older than me, had started playing guitar when he was 6. So for
Wow.
as long as I can remember, my brother was playing guitar. I never touched an instrument until my mid to late teen years. But as far as music being played, there were tons. My older sisters had, one sister was more into LPs, the other was into 45s.
Yeah.
So I had tons of music around me. And, my mother is probably my biggest influence, always had the radio on, always had music playing on the radio.
Who would you say shaped, or influenced your songwriting style? I mean, was there a range of artists that you think kind of, planted those seeds? And also, was there like an aha moment when you said, "Okay, this is kind of my destiny. This is what I needed to do"?
The earliest memory of my life truly was, I might have been 2 or 3,
Yeah.
and I was riding one of those 3-wheel big wheels, those plastic things that, the big wheel.
Yeah.
To the younger people, you have to look that up. But I was at my grandmother's in East Boston, riding down the hallway. So help me God, I heard Galveston by Jimmy Webb, Glenn Campbell singing
Yeah, great
Galveston
track.
on the radio. And as a 2 or 3-year-old, maybe I was 2.5, it stopped me dead in my tracks. I was transfixed by
I'm not
I don't know
surprised.
if the melody or the song. I couldn't have understood it, but in any way what the lyrics were. But that was the first time I can recall a song, the combination of melody and chords stopping me, in it hitting me in a big way. And I just got to meet Jimmy Webb a couple of weeks ago, and I
Oh,
told
great.
him that story. And he was like, "Wow, that's early." But so Jimmy Webb stuff has always been important to me. Of course, I love the Beatles, and I loved Simon and Garfunkel as a
Yeah,
kid. And having older siblings, I always listened to things like, got to hear stuff like early Chicago and Three Dog Night, and
great stuff.
early like Motown stuff. And so I always was surrounded by good songs. And I don't think, I don't know if there was a particular writer that made me think I'm going to do this, but I do
Yeah.
recall having released an album. It was only after releasing an album, and my booking agent at the time, who is now my booking agent again, Frank
Wow.
Radley,
Full circle.
he got my band a gig opening for Wilco at the old Tramps in New York. And I
Amazing.
had not really committed myself to making music, even though I had made a record at that point. I remember the day after the show, walking down the street, and I saw my reflection in a window on a building in New York City. And I remember looking at myself, and I had just finished my master's degree, and I could
Yeah.
go this way or that way. And I remember saying to myself, "Screw it, man. I'm making songs." And that was the day I remember saying, for better or for worse, this is what I'm going to do. And I
What did you
turned
major in?
left. I turned left instead of right.
Yeah, what'd
So,
you major in?
well, as my graduate degree, I have a master's in fine arts in creative writing.
Amazing. That's amazing. And so, I have to say, that there's a lot of fans out there that haven't experienced, that sensation when you write a song that just really speaks to you as a songwriter, or that sensation of when you set foot on stage and you scan the audience, where it's basically like an out of body experience when you're connecting with them. And I'm wondering if you can kind of share, particularly when you set foot on stage and you're in lockstep with the audience, what that experience is like.
It's pretty interesting. for sure. I wouldn't say that I had a natural drive to be a performer. I would
Yeah.
say that was one of the later things that came. For me, it was always mostly about the quiet songwriting and the connectedness to creating. So
Right.
that was always what drew me to it. And recording, I love to record. But as far as when I felt, when I started to understand performing, and when I started to honestly relax and let myself just get lost in the singing of the songs, it's
Right.
pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing thing when you can, you know, I don't play, my music's not particularly loud, and my audience has traditionally been very polite and they're quiet along with me. And there are times when it's so quiet when I'm singing, I'm like, wow, it's so quiet, it's loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a heavy quiet. And
Yeah.
it's pretty great. I mean, you definitely feel that thing. You've heard musicians talk about like they're giving something and someone's giving something back, and there's a buzz going between you. That's a fact, and that happens whether you're playing to thousands of people or you're playing to 20 people. You know, you can really
Exactly.
feel it. It's pretty great.
Exactly.
There's nothing
Speaking of
like
great,
that.
no, there isn't. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Alfred, thanks so much for picking up a copy of Sonny I Was Wrong. You will not regret it. You're going to go back to this album over and over again. Same with Philip. Thanks for purchasing a copy. Also to Edward as well. We'll get to a number of you folks for sure. Joe, you made the statement, making music is not always easy, but it's still magical for me. Kind of stealing a page from what we're just talking about. But when you find that thing that makes a song pop in particular, I don't think you don't think that you've made a better album than this one, or one that pops like this one. You feel like you made a really big leap. I can honestly say from the outside looking in, I completely echo your sentiments. Congratulations on this brilliant record. The material is truly stellar, and the album has such a great feel. And I mean, I can't think of better timing. We needed this record.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I really feel as far as is I think I might have made 19 or 20 albums at this point.
Yeah.
And this one is just really special to me. And you know, in that special is not the right word. It's it's a big one for me. It really felt like I really felt the songs were there, and I felt like the performances were there. Everything happened the way I was hoping it happened, and it's not always that way. You know,
Right.
you can get super close and you know, but this one I just felt like it had it all, and things don't line up like that often for me. A couple times out of 20 maybe.
Who are we to question it? You just have to go with it.
But then again, I always pick. I'm not always, you know. Someone will say, "What's your favorite song?" And then I'll say what it is, and they'll be like, "Really? What about this one?" But what do I know?
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of it, right? It's all subjective. We all interpret it in different ways. And, once you're done with it, you turn it over to the world. It's out of your hands. And now it's ours
100%.
to, yeah. What Warren Zanes played an important role, didn't he? What did he bring to the table specifically with this project for you, Joe?
Well, Warren, who is a genius writer, I don't throw that word around lightly, and he's
Yes.
an old friend of mine, and he knows music, and I write a lot of songs, and I I was talking to him one day, and I said, Warren, I have about 35 songs that are on the way to being recorded, and I don't know what to pick. I don't know which songs. I want to make an album. I don't want to just put a collection of kind of disconnected songs. It's not a concept, but I wanted it to feel like an album, something you sit down and listen to top to bottom.
A body of work.
Yeah, well, you know, but we're in a day of like the algorithm pushes a thing, and it might
Yeah.
be it's it's not often about listening to a complete album, a cohesive thing. But I wanted to do that, but I honestly felt too close to the stuff, and I had too many songs on the go. So I asked him, I said, would you be interested in helping me? And he said, definitely, see some songs. And I would say Warren picked the songs on this record. I agreed with, there's a couple that I might not have put on. I'm glad I did. I would not have put on this record, but he was super instrumental in shaping the curating the record, picking the songs. We both worked on sequence. The sequence is mostly his. I made a couple tweaks here and there, but not many. He was, he kind of, I guess, I would have taken an executive producer credit on that one if I was one. So
yeah, he's written some amazing music related content out there, and the guy's got incredible background.
Correct.
Yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar, in particular, there's a recent Bruce Springsteen film based on Nebraska that basically came straight from his book. I think he probably wrote it, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago or something, maybe longer than that. But and a great Tom Petty book.
Yeah, it's from his book, and yeah, that Petty book is excellent.
It's amazing, yeah, and he also does incredible work. His background includes being a kind of the head of education and public programs for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They do some great work historically, and most importantly, I just wanted to call out, he's the executive director of a brilliant vision of Stephen Van Zant's, which is the Rock and Roll Forever Foundation. So that's your homework assignment, folks. After you buy this record and you listen to it, look that one up.
May I add, as a teenager, and he still continues to be in that role, was the guitarist in the Del Fuegos.
Del Fuegos, great group.
That was
a lot of fun live.
Dan Staines band.
Yeah, great call out for sure. Speaking of great call out, you got some terrific musicians, but I wanted to call out Jim Cregan from the Bare Naked Ladies on this album, and he's kind of central to the project as well.
For sure, this record would not have happened. Jim, I've known Jim for.
I think we're having a bit of an audio problem. So we can't hear you. I don't know. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask Brad if he can roll in. Although it sounds like maybe you're back. Can you speak?
Am I here now?
Yes, you are.
Excellent. So that was a momentary glitch.
That's the beauty of going live, man. It's without a net,
Exactly. So I knew Jim because our kids went to the same grammar school. When I moved to Canada, I settled in an area where there were a lot of musicians and actors and artists because it was still inexpensive to live in this neighborhood. And so anyway, I knew Jim for years, and we messed around playing music. I played at his wife has a nonprofit fundraising thing. I sat in and played. He asked me to play some songs years ago. Nice. And that's when I played with him and the piano player on my record, Mike Evan. Long story short, Jim he has a beautiful personal use studio that is just fantastic, and I could never afford to go there if I didn't know him, and he just made it. He's such a generous and really he's a great guy, a phenomenal musician, and so generous. He made the studio available to me at a rate that, quite frankly, I could afford. And so honestly, without his playing, the record wouldn't have happened, but without him being a solid gold guy, the record definitely would not have happened as it did.
And it's important to call that out because the record sounds fantastic. And I will say too, the production and the arrangement and the mix, it all serves the song, and the songs are central. I mean, it's what makes it such a great record. I want to reach out to a few of the fans that are here and thank them for being here. Edward Majewski is saying, Joe, miss you in Philadelphia. I filmed you when you were the Scud Mountain Boys, seen you many times. and just appreciative that you're spending the time to talk about the new record.
Thanks. I'll be in Philadelphia soon too. I can't exactly give you the date because it won't be confirmed until maybe tomorrow or so, but I will be in Philadelphia in the near future.
And fair to say there'll be some of the great new material worked into the set list?
Heck yeah. I mean,
Yeah, great answer.
yeah.
Bob Fence.
May
Yeah.
I add about you were talking about the studio Jim's? It was engineered by Kenny Long, who's Jim's house guy, who did a phenomenal job, and he mixed the record too. So he did a spectacular job, and hopefully we can talk about a few of the players as we talk a little longer, because I definitely want to give credit where credit's due. I was the weakest link of the bunch, and that is not a guy just sitting here trying to be cute. As far as musicianship goes, I'm the weakest link of that record.
That's setting the bar pretty high, so that's quite a testament for sure. And Bob Fenster wants to know, and it's I think a really insightful question. When you do your demos on acoustic guitar, how much of the full band arrangement do you have in mind, or is that something that you just kind of let organically develop, or maybe it's a combination of both?
On this record, in particular, I had a lot of it already thought out. I didn't have people's parts written or anything like that, but I definitely had a pretty clear vision of the instrumentation and how I wanted it to sound. And
Yeah.
it doesn't always work out exactly how you like, and you tweak it a little bit. But I know Bob's been listening to my music for a long time. But Bob, on some of the other records, say like the Pernice Brothers, The World Won't End, that record, I wrote the songs, but then they grew. We had a bunch of people in the studio, and it was more like, let's try this. So
Yeah.
there was a lot more. There are times when it's much more experimental. This particular record was pretty straightforward. I kind of had a good idea of where things were going.
Considering the song structures, that makes a lot of sense for sure. They're just so strong that, you can tell. I mean, the only risk you have is sometimes, overproducing, which is not the case here, where you could have had a tendency to add additional layers of tracks on
Yeah.
a few of these tracks. I mean, even the string arrangements are tastefully done, where you could have gone full bore and just smothered the song, and
Yeah, for
really
sure. Steve,
tastefully done.
my friend Norman Blake from who I played with, we made a record together, but he's from the band Teenage Fan Club, and
Love them.
he sings on this record, by the way.
Yeah.
Norman taught me a term called underdubbing. When you're in the studio, it's
I love that.
instead of overdubbing, you underdub, you peel things away, which it's a
That's
good
brilliant.
it's a good term, but it's a good practice too, where you just get rid of what's cluttering or unnecessary, really.
Yeah, let the song breathe, and I can't stress that enough for sure. And speaking of stressing, I just want to remind everybody tonight we're celebrating the forthcoming debut solo release. That's right. Incredible to think of it, from Joe Pernice, that Joe Pernice from the Pernice Brothers and Scud Mountain Boys. The album is entitled Sonny, I Was Wrong. 11 song set produced by Joe. And man, the guy has delivered. The album features Amy Mann, who's just absolutely marvelous, of course. Norman Blake, who you just heard Joe mention. The great Rodney Crowell, who's been on here a number of times. And of course, the legendary Jimmy Webb. And also includes liner notes by Warren Zane, who we just mentioned. And we'll talk about some of the musicians. And that, of course, includes Jim Cregan. Now, the album releases on Friday, April 3rd. However, Rock and Roll Channel on Talk Shop Live fans can purchase their copies right here, right now. It's available both on vinyl and CD. And as Joe's way of thanking you, fine fans, he's graciously agreed to sign a limited number of copies. But once they're gone, they're gone. So order your copies now. Hit the shop button on Talk Shop Live on the Meta Socials comment shop. We'll DM you a link, and the rest is quick, easy, and pain-free. Unlike the slight arthritic condition Joe may have developed signing for you fine fans, but having a good authority, he'll be fully recovered by the time he hits the road and starts doing those dates. There's no greater way to show how much you appreciate the great artistry of one Joe Pernice than by owning a copy of this great and latest musical body of work. So jumping right into it, Peace in Our Home. Wow, what an opener, Joe. I mean, this to me, my takeaway was this is a song everybody wished they had written, but wouldn't openly admit it. But man, really, there's some great lyrics as well that you've delivered on this project, and I just wanted to cite some of them, including from this song. When you're gone, I won't fear the calm of night. When you're gone, I won't care who might see me cry. There'll be bedridden sorrow, but not for too long. There'll be peace in our home when you're gone. There will be voices rising, but only in song. There will be peace in our home when you're gone. Kudos, man. Just love this track.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks.
And I have to
You know,
say, written in third
I can tell
person,
you
or was
something.
that some? Yeah, please.
No, no, it was not about it. You know, I've had people say, I know who that's about. You know,
Yeah,
it's really not about anybody, and that's not a lie. I had a day where I have these explosive days where I will write 3 songs in a day, 4 songs. I might not finish them, but that was on a day when I had about 4 songs, and 2 of them will make a record. And that was one of them. I remember writing, it was a Saturday afternoon, it was about 4 in the afternoon, kind of wintry, it was getting dark.
yeah.
It was one of those days.
Yeah, you're on a roll. I'll tell you what, it is magic. Speaking of magic, let's hear some of the music that speaks volumes. This is again a track from Joe's forthcoming new solo album, the debut album, Sunny I Was Wrong. Here's Deep Into the Dawn. Brad, if you would please roll the digital for us.
That was the good time. Couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. I missed a sure sign. Couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. And years ago we threw ourselves, our cares into the wind headlong. And years ago our nights, they carried on deep into the dawn. Restless in our time, couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. It was a sure sign, couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. And years ago we threw ourselves, our cares into the wind headlong. And years ago our nights, they carried on deep into the dawn.
Beautiful setting, and you know, this is the part where fans get upset with us and say, "Hey, Steve, how can you cut off a track like that?" And you know how it works, or if you've been here before, you have to buy the album to hear the rest of it, and that's how it works here on Talk Shop Live. And trust me, it's just as good on the back half
Oh, it's
as
not
it.
because of lawsuits?
Well, I wasn't going to go there. I thought we
Oh,
agreed, but you know what? It's your show. Go for it. No, we're not afraid of those. I mean, it's a record business. I mean, those are filed like a dime a dozen, aren't they?
yes. Did you lose me? Am I back?
You're back.
Oh,
You're
okay. I
back with a
thought
vengeance, man. Deep
either I'm having like
deep in the dawn, man.
there's something wrong with my retinas or something, or my screen is getting wonky, but I think we're good.
No problem, man. We'll keep battling through it if we have to, man. We're not going away. Man, this is an instant classic in my book. Just a beautiful track, Joe.
Thanks.
It feels so familiar, and I don't mean that like there's plagiarism, but that's the mark of a great song when it just speaks to you, your body responds to it. It's kind of like when you were talking about when you heard Galveston, and you're too young to really understand it or whatever, but the body, the soul responds to, great songs. And this is a great song and also great lyric, but really wanted to single out also just an American treasure. And that's Amy Mann, who's on this track with you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually, when I wrote that song, I I I do this a lot. I start thinking, like, if it's going to be if I want to have someone on the song, I was immediately thinking her voice as I was
Yeah.
writing it. Honestly,
Perfect.
as the melody was coming through, I was like, I have to. I started singing with her in mind, and it just worked out that I was able to connect to her, and she was into the tune and was into singing on it, and it happened really easily. And that is my favorite recording I've ever made. That particular song,
It's
of
gorgeous.
all the anyone I've ever made, that to me is my favorite. I think the song is all there. I think the performances are all there. The mix is all there. For me, that is, if someone said, "What's your favorite recording you ever made?" That's the tune right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, if she makes a surprise appearance, man, my bags are packed. I'll be there in a heartbeat to hear the two of you do that live, because
Well,
that would be
let me know if she shows up. I'll be there.
you got it. Yeah. I'll be the first to know, I guess, which is unfortunate. You should be the first to know. But this one, man, was worth the price of admission alone. Let's check out another track if that's all right with you, Joe. I just want to share all this great music.
Whatever you like.
All right. Forthcoming new solo debut album. Again, it seems kind of strange to say that, but well worth the wait. Title Sonny, I Was Wrong. Here's another terrific track entitled If You Go Back to California. Brad, once again, please roll the digital for us.
You go back to California. Please don't take my honey sunshine. How many times must I warn you? That'd be the death of me. That'd be the death of me. Go back to California. Please don't take my honey sunshine. How many times must I warn you? That'd be the death of me. That'd be the death of me.
Again, the fans are really pissed at me. Steve, why are you cutting off that great track, man? So catchy. If You Go Back to California, a great jangly, bouncy pop track. Man, love the chord progression. It's just killer. And what strikes me is like amazing is lyrics are sparse. It's like the whole song is like a chorus, but what's amazing about it is it doesn't feel redundant, or it's like, what happened? So I got to ask you, Joe, did you struggle with this one going, man, I got to add some more lyrics. I got to figure this out. And how did you decide to go with that?
No, I was thinking as I was listening to it go by, I was thinking back on that one. It is all chorus.
Yeah.
And I had a couple verses in there, and they were just clunky and they weren't doing anything. I realized everything I needed to say was just in that chorus. And I decided I'm going to step out on a limb and just go with it and leave it open where, it doesn't need anything else. At least in my mind, others might disagree, but it felt right just like that. And I said, the hell with it. Let's just go with it.
As a fan and listening to it, I've heard songs where they've taken that approach and you're like, okay, I get it. And it's like, let's move on. You don't get that sense with this song. It's amazing. You wanted to talk about some of the musicians. I think, again, we're talking about serving the song. Just the guitar break, for example. I love the fact that
Yeah.
it starts out so simplistic, but it works. Again, they could have easily added some additional lines to it, and then it, kind of morphs into a little bit of a riff, but again, super tasteful.
Yeah, that's a guy named Michael McKenzie from Medicine Hat, Alberta. He's a
Wow.
great guitar player and great friend of mine. And we sat and we tracked that one. We sat down and went through it, but he marched all over that song.
That's great.
So yeah, he's a super tasteful player, and I wasn't really worried that it was going to be messy.
Yeah, good call for sure. You were in good hands, no doubt about it for sure. And I want to again thank all the fans for being here. Dan Rubin saying I caught the brothers at Johnny Brendan's. Wish I saw the boys.
Oh yeah,
So
in
yeah.
Philly.
And Edward, I just want to say was he was talking about the topper of all things was seeing the Prettiest Brothers do Truly Scrumptious as an encore.
That's right.
I am so upset that I was not privy to that experience. I'd pay good money for that one.
Well, we did it, in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's a mashup between that song "Doll on a Music Box" and "Truly Scrumptious." It's the same chord progression.
Yeah.
So it's two songs, and they do that in the movie. They do the mashup. So we did that live as the mashup, where I forget who sang. I sang "Doll on the Music Box," and then the guys in the group came back in and sang the Truly Scrumptious part. It was a pretty good cover, I have to say. They might
No
be
doubt.
recording somewhere.
Yeah, if talk about plagiarism, the Primus goes and they make a whole album. Their reimagining of it, with golden tickets and everything.
Yeah.
Talk about a lawsuit waiting to happen, but life is too short. So Matthew Lehman saying you did a couple of short tours of house shows in the past couple of years. How does that experience differ from small club shows from a financial perspective and also from a performance?
Honestly, I made more money. That's a fact. So, but it's
simple math, right?
I beg your pardon?
That's like simple math, right?
Very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple. And it's so easy to do. And I don't mean like it's easy because you show up and you play, and I don't have a loud voice, and I've in the past, sometimes I'm fighting sound systems and monitors. I traveled with my own little PA.
Wow.
Like Jonathan Richman would do. And so I knew what I was getting every night. It was simple, and I could play, it was more casual in that I rarely worked off a set list. I just kind of had a master list of like 50 songs, and I would just pick them as I went. And it was pretty chill because you're 10 feet away from people, and then it's fun. I really enjoyed playing that way.
It sounds like you were like a human jukebox to some extent. I mean, I love that.
Yeah, that only has my music in it.
Even better, I have to imagine there must have been one or two nights where it's just like, okay, man, I'm running out of gas. Damn, I wish I had a road crew with me.
Well, no, because all I had was an acoustic guitar and 2 microphones. I mic'd my acoustic. I had a little speaker on a stick that was like honestly the size of a milk crate.
I love that.
It would be, it's simple. It was simple. Maybe I wish I had someone to play the songs for me. Like I could have subcontracted the gig out, but but as far as like the technical part of it, it's a breeze.
Yeah, no doubt for sure. And again, I want to remind everybody that tonight we're celebrating the release. And again, mind blowing to me that we're referring to this one as what it is, which is the debut solo release from Joe Pernice of the Pernice Brothers and Scud Mountain Boys, entitled "Sonny, I Was Wrong." 11 killer songs, top to bottom. Album just absolutely delivers. Available both on vinyl and CD. And it comes out officially Friday, April 3rd. But you fans on the Rock and Roll Channel and Talk Shop Live can purchase your copies right here, right now. And it's Joe's way of thanking you fine fans. He has graciously agreed to autograph a limited number of copies. Once they're gone, though. So click that Talk Shop Live shop button, or if you're on Meta, comment the word shop. We'll DM you a link. And there's no greater way to show how much you appreciate the brilliant music and artistry of one Joe Pernice than by owning a copy of this latest musical body of work that he's now sharing with all of us. Force Feed the Fire, striking, powerful track, great arrangement too. And Joe, this one really spoke to me. Again, great lyric. I lost 5 years, then I lost 5 more. I was floating around my head in the clouds once in the summer and twice in the fall. I would survey the wire and force feed the fire. Powerful, powerful track.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a fun one to write. I remember writing that one. That
And
came out pretty good.
it did, and I'll tell you what else came out pretty good. Let's check out another track from the debut solo album from Joe Pernice, Sonny, I Was Wrong. Here's The Black and Blue. Brad, once again, if you would, please roll the digital for us.
I see you moving another crowd. You're spilling over and laughing loud. I know what you're trying to do, sorting out the black and the blue. I'd never judge you, I've done the same. Don't call it pleasure, it's bond of pain. I know what you're trying to do, sorting out the black and the blue. I've got a box full of bridges that we sold. I've got a box full of stories that we told. I've got a box full of ruins of the morning. It's labeled me and you, sorting out the black and the blue.
Hello.
Yes,
we
we're
back?
here. We are back. And you know what Edward's
Are we
saying? I will
there?
definitely be ordering. We are.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Blue, the black and blue.
Steve, are you
Perfect
still
song in
there?
my. Yes, I am. I'm here.
I can see you,
I'll
but
tell
I
you
can't
what.
hear you.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
You there?
Let's. Yes, I'm here. Let's go to another song. Brad, if you would, let's cue up. I'd rather look away, and we'll get the technical difficulties sorted out for sure.
Are you there?
If you should see her when we're out in town, please don't let me know. I'd get so shaky and fall off the bone if I had to say hello. I'd never try to make you take a side. I know you're still
do my best
Are we
Larry King
back?
impersonation. Is the caller there? Yes, we can hear you. We are back. Can you hear us, Joe? Can you hear me? Well, let me just remind everybody that was another great track from the new album. I'd rather look away. Yet another catchy track
I'm
featuring
not really sure how to proceed.
Norman Blake on vocals. So let's see. I'm going to ask Brad once again if he could roll perhaps the beginning track that we played while we continue to work on getting this fine gentleman situated on the technical side. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're going to get this right. And Brad, if we would, let's roll the initial track if we could.
That was the good time. Couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. I missed a sure sign. Couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. And years ago we threw ourselves, our cares into the wind headlong. And years ago our nights they carried on deep into the dawn. Restless in our time, couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. It was a sure sign, couldn't even recognize it then for what it was. And years ago we threw ourselves, our cares into the wind headlong. And years ago our nights they carried on deep into the dawn.
What a beautiful track. This is Jake Gideon, and Jake is saying he's seen Joe several times, always fantastic. Spaceland, McCabe's, the New York Anniversary Show. Look at that. What a laundry list. There's also a Brothers show at the Hollywood Knitting Factory about 20 years ago. Well, let's see how he described this, where Joe was so sweaty, he looked like he had just climbed out of a pool. That's pretty graphic, Jake. Thanks for sharing that. And then we've got DC Harbold, who saw the SMBs play in Philadelphia with Joe Henry at the Bluebird. Wow, been a huge fan ever since. And
Hello?
Joe, yes, can you hear us, Joe? Can the caller hear us? It sounds like he can't. I called Joe. Bob Taylor called out Solitary Swedish House at Joe's solo show many a year ago. And I just want to remind everybody. I just want to remind everybody that we are celebrating the forthcoming debut solo release from Joe Pernice's first solo record entitled "Sonny, I Was Wrong." The 11-song set was produced by Joe. The album features Amy Mann, Norman Blake of Teenage Fan Club, Rodney Crowell, and Jimmy Webb. Also includes liner notes from Warren Zanes, who we talked about for sure. And the album officially releases Friday, April 3rd. But Rock and Roll Channel fans can purchase their copies right here, right now.
Not really sure what to do in this situation. I can see you.
It's available.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Joe. Yes.
I'm not really sure how to proceed.
It's okay. We're going to say goodbye. We're going to say goodbye to Joe. It's not normally how we like to. There we go. Yes. Play an outro.
Dancing.
Yes. There we go. Yeah. So I'm going to just say, everybody, that we really appreciate you being here to order copies, support this man. It's a great album for sure. Just hit the shop button on Talk Shop Live on socials, Facebook, Instagram, Comment Shop will DM you a link. The rest is quick and easy. And, top to bottom, this album just absolutely delivers. The last track features piano work from the one and only Jimmy Webb, and that's worth the price of admission alone. And also, right before there's another track called 20,000 Times, another instant classic. Fans, I can tell you, this is an absolutely brilliant record. So you won't regret it. Just pull the trigger now before we sell out. And I would like to thank all the fans for being here. And it's greatly appreciated for you spending time with us. We know you have all kinds of options out there. And special thanks to our good friend Tommy Robinson, who's been a great supporter. And thanks to Caroline Barfield, both at New West Records. Also Katie Keller. Thank you, Katie. Thanks to Jack Patton Smith and also Chris DeBono at Red Eye. And thanks to Steve Svacina. I always struggle on that. And then I know exactly how to pronounce his last name every time I talk to him. The big supporter, Jake Anderson, and everyone at the Orchard, to our fulfillment partners at All Media Supply that ensure that you get Joe's album to you in one piece as promised. Also to Brian, Sandy, Tina, Joe, Jenny, Levani, Marty, Kate, Sam, and Brendan, behind the scenes, Brett Edwards, all from Talk Shop Live. But most importantly to Joe Pernice for continuing to show us what a talented individual he was and it is, and it also for sharing all of his musical gifts with us. So pick up a copy of this forthcoming album entitled Sonny I Was Wrong on the Rock and Roll Channel Talk Shop Live, personally autographed by the man himself. And while you're at it, pick up copies for your friends and family. It's a unique gift that will keep on giving, and having a good authority. It will enhance everyone's quality of life. And with that, again, a big thanks to Joe and all of you fans. Everyone, rock on, stay safe, enjoy life. Thanks so much for being here this evening. Talk to you soon. So long, everybody.
You go back to California. Please don't take my honey sunshine. How many times must I warn you? That'd be the death of me. That'd be the death of me. Go back to California. Please don't take my honey sunshine. How many times must I warn you? That'd be the death of me. That'd be the death of me.